Hello, everyone. This is Wrist 13 with my Hell Mode first run video. If you want to skip the preamble, you can click the timestamp down below. We'll skip right past it. I'll probably talk for maybe a minute just to walk us in. So this is my first run Hell Mode completion. While there are others that are floating around that I understand, there's at least one on the subreddit at the time of this recording that I know of, where someone has beaten first run Hell Mode. As best as I can tell, it is not recorded. And while it's not that I disbelieve the individual, it is, for the record of the internet, functionally non-existent. So if we want to be technical, we can say this is the first run Hell Mode that's been recorded, and it's also done in sort of a speedrun format. The in-game time, I think, is around 20 minutes, and real time is about 28 minutes. So that's pretty good. Also, since I recorded this offline, not only is there no commentary, we are also listening to Cortenberry's stream. I may upload a unlisted raw version where we just have whatever audio was playing. The game audio is in it, if you really want it, but it is along. And there is a moment later in the video where I actually pause the game to pause the stream so that I can just focus on the fight. And spoilers, of course, I do win the fight. But I just want to talk about the run and sort of elucidate some of the mechanical subtleties, some of my mistakes, of course. I've made plenty of those. And, of course, we can point out where I got quite lucky, which will happen quite soon. So, without further ado, I will start the game right now. Actually just had to take a moment to mute it. And we do include the 24 seconds of preamble from the kind narrator at the start of each fresh file run, or first run. Well, both, I guess. And there isn't really much to say about this first part. I'm unsure of how I should speak about Hell Mode in relation to regular first run, Hell Mode first run versus regular first run. And we missed our cast, so it took us a little bit more time to kill the thug. The most important change for first run, actually, I don't think is even the damage that enemies do, or even the healing that you can't have, because you take a 25% reduction in healing. The hardest part, honestly, is the extra health. Anyone who does high heat knows that calisthenics program is kind of something you just avoid until you absolutely have to take it. Because 15% extra enemy health, it doesn't sound like much, but there's a lot of breakpoints that are really important to Hades, especially in Hades' first run, where your resources are so limited. So for instance, these witches normally have 80 health, which means that on a regular first run, I can do a dash attack and then a special for a total of 80 damage, 30 damage from the dash attack, and 30 damage from the special. But here, that doesn't work. So whenever you see me kill a witch, you'll actually see me dash attack and then swipe, a regular swipe for an additional 20 damage, and then do a special. It's not a lot of extra time, but it is a little more effort, and it does demand more out of Zagreus. Of course, anything with high health pools like these louts or those thugs are going to be even harder to kill, which is why we need damage pretty badly. We're also looking for Merciful End. I figure this is a given, but I might as well just say it. Accidentally stepping on a trap like an idiot. The other thing is, calisthenics program is doubly effective for armored enemies. So those armored numbskulls will actually get in a lot more chip damage than normal, because my special, the base damage on the special does not cut through their armor. You have to throw a little something else in there. I'm unsure of exactly how much armor it has in terms of raw numbers, but it is something. And it does mean that they can sort of invincible their way through your attacks, whereas normally you can just special them. You break their armor, which automatically stuns them, and then gets through. So here we have again, we're already pretty lucky because we found Ares attack and Athena special, which is, the dream. Now we just kind of have to get lucky and find Merciful End, which I feel like has, I want to say, around a 30% chance of showing up in any given Ares or Athena boon. There are the numbers floating around somewhere. You can actually increase the chance by having all of your core boon slots full. So if I were to find, say, an Athena, there's a solid argument for taking the cast if you don't find what you're looking for, just because, not because you're using the cast for damage, although Athena cast actually does a fair bit of damage. It's nothing to really sneeze at. You do want to make it as likely as possible. Also, in normal fresh file, if you find Athena special, you can actually one-shot the witches. Here, I actually can't. Even though I have rare special, there is some variance in how much damage the rare special gives you. If you can, maybe you can try to see if I ever do it. Yeah, 91 damage. So we do 91 damage with our special. Witches on hell mode have, I think, 92 health. So we can't kill them in a single slam, which kind of sucks. One thing that doesn't suck, though, is what's about to happen here. We're going to pick up Merciful End, which is really, really nice. I've had a couple... I think this is the second Merciful End in Tartarus that I've had in the last... I've been grinding this out for, I think, 2 or 3 days. Like 3 days, I guess. So we're definitely able to bypass a lot of hazards now. The unfortunate thing about first run and this sort of stuff in general is that you're actually not... You're less likely to learn things that are useful for you watching world record runs, because not only are world record runs, I mean, I guess they're always like generally highly skillful, and we're taking the free palm because we have no extra cash. So, and we want the palm anyway. Being able to palm the attack is really, really nice. Where was I? Oh yeah. Even though all these world record runs are, very skillful, what's important to remember is that they're also very lucky. And so we're able to do things that we would not normally be able to do. I can play way more aggressively and recklessly than I normally would if I didn't have the damage. There was a room earlier where I was fighting some armored thugs, and we were able to just nuke them down without much of a problem. We couldn't do that without Merciful End. And that is a form of survivability. Having damage to break through armor is a form of survivability. I also am a huge fan of doing this sort of pattern when Meg shoots her projectiles with the special. As long as you have Athena special, you can sort of clear all of her projectiles with a dash special and be pretty safe. Sometimes I'll mess it up, but, I think I do spend the extra cash on health. At this point, I am really excited because we don't usually find Merciful End super early, and it's a rare opportunity. So at this point, I'm thinking I'm more concerned about staying alive to make both myself and my Merciful End more powerful. And this is something that isn't, I don't think, mentioned too much in first runs. And there's a reason why sometimes, we'll get to Hades with, a really nice amount of health and a really powerful Merciful End. And sometimes we'll make it to Hades with not much health and maybe not a very, very powerful Merciful End. And this is because whenever we're looking for Merciful End, we are basically expending resources. If I want to get a chance at Merciful End in a shop, I have to spend 150 gold. And if I end up walking out of that exchange with Urge to Kill, well, I've lost 150 gold worth of value. You get a little bit of value out of something like that, I guess, but sometimes it's just nothing, right? It's like sometimes you get Blinding Flash or Sure Footing, and you just kind of feel bad. So you feel the opportunity cost really, really aggressively. So finding early Merciful End not only makes me powerful early, it gives me the ability to expend my resources in a way that allows me to become powerful later as well, which is also something that we'll be able to see. And it's probably the biggest element or most noticeable part of the RNG. It's honestly not even the power that you're able to put out, because like you can be pretty powerful even without Merciful End up until late Elysium. And also, navigating this room is one of the hardest, most bullshit things to do in first run. Like these, with only one dash, you're constantly in danger of stepping in lava, and there just aren't a lot of good places to go. I was saying something about becoming more powerful. I can't remember what it was now, but we'll become more powerful and we'll get to see that in a meaningful way. We already have 100 health. Generally we want to have like a max health of around 150, maybe 100 by the time we see Hades. And we are already well on our way. And this fight, just to emphasize again how valuable it is to what am I thinking about here? Okay. I think I'm looking for Blinding Flash. Not Blinding Flash. Brilliant Riposte to activate the legendary. Oh yeah, another thing that sort of exemplifies what it means for damage to be safety. That fight in particular is a great exemplar of that. The Deuce Ahead and the Skull Crusher fight, because that fight goes on for a while. You're in pretty good danger of taking some hits, just because it's not terribly hard to get hit by one of the petrifying blocks or to accidentally take a slam from the giant head. And Asphodel is probably, it can be one of the most frustrating biomes, but I think it's also the easiest, as long as you're mindful about the lava. And there are a couple enemies that are really bothersome, but like if you don't have a lot of power, something like armored bone rakers are really, really obnoxious. But for the most part, and armored slam dancers are incredibly dangerous as well. I think this is where I get Impending Doom. Yeah. So we're already full build. I'm feeling really, really, really good. Impending Doom is probably the last piece of the puzzle. Some really nice to haves are Deadly Reversal, of course, and the Athena's Legendary, Divine Protection, but that's at this point, and I think we'll come up to some decisions where I actually decide against pushing for the Legendary, just because I think of that opportunity cost, and I think it's so much of a luxury, and I'm risking so much on something that's already so good. So we're doing 220-ish damage with our excuse me. We're doing 220-ish damage with our Merciful End. We're already quite powerful. This is a really nice spot. I think Vareem's standard fresh file world record has some crazy number coming out, like 300 plus or something, 350, something like that for a Merciful End. That's a huge number. We are not at that level of power. I can't remember how powerful we get, actually. I feel like we get another palm at least into something good. At this point, I think having an extra palm in Impending Doom will take us a long way, but we'll see. I don't think we're. I don't know where we land. I can't remember. It's been a while. But yeah, the first and second biomes are pretty. Honestly, they're pretty standardized. Even if you have Merciful End, there isn't too much. I mean, there's obviously a difference, but it's not a giant difference between having Merciful End and not Merciful End. Although it is more pronounced in Hell mode, just because you need more damage to clear rooms. In standard, and this is where I'm like, do I take this Athena and push for the legendary, or do I take this max health? And I decide on the max health. These swordsmen really fuck with you. Anyone who hasn't done fresh file of any kind probably doesn't know exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, the way these guys zip around, I think specifically in response to being hit. I'm not sure what exactly their behavior is still. But on the large, if you strike them, they are very likely to just zip zap around and you can't catch them, and they'll just throw in a slash every so often, and it's infuriating. And they're always in the first room in Elysium, without exception. So you're guaranteed to fight them at least once. And you're very likely to fight them more than once. Okay, if we didn't have Merciful End, we would obviously be having a lot of trouble, which is why I said if you're looking to learn this run, looking at a run like this, I don't think will be incredibly helpful. And here I'm actually deciding whether or not I want to go for Deadly Reversal, or I don't think I have Dionysus in my pool yet. There is a chance that I'd find Premium Vintage on the other side, which at this point is fine for me to push for, because getting Dionysus in my pool won't hurt me. I'm not looking for anything else from the shops, really. Ooh, and that was bad. This fight is also really... It feels harder on Hell mode for some reason, or it could just be that I'm out of practice on this particular fight. But you always want to be behind this guy. Distance on the Minotaur is not actually the safest. The safest thing is generally hugging his back and keeping a really close eye on what direction he's facing. So right here, yep, dashing behind him. I took a moment to look what direction he was facing, and I dashed in the opposite direction of that. And in a longer fight, that matters more and more and more. And we'll see me do a little bit more of that in the heroes fight. And here I'm going to take the cast. It's possible that I should have taken pressure points, because, spoiler alert, I do not find Deadly Reversal. And I don't even know if I'm given the chance to get Deadly Reversal. I don't know if I find another Artemis or Athena. And a similar problem in Elysium without Merciful End. If I don't have Merciful End by like mid Elysium, I'm already feeling like I'm in reset mode. Level 5. Damn. At that point, you do want 1 point in Impending Doom. Yeah, like those armored shield stones, the blue stones, are really, really bothersome, especially since they have so much health from Calisthenics program. On the regular mode, they're okay, even if you don't have Merciful End. But here it's so hard to get through their armor without that extra damage boost. Yeah, and here I'm on the hunt for Premium Vintage. Just because I want to... Basically, at this point, I know my build is as powerful as it's probably going to get. Maybe one more palm. It would have to be a lucky palm as well. One more palm would make me a little bit more powerful, but at this point, I'm really just looking to give myself the best chance of victory, because I know I can choke versus the heroes, and I know that I can choke versus Hades. So we're sort of in full find survivability mode. One important thing to remember against butterfly balls is that they they spawn their butterflies sort of inside them, and if you are inside them, then you are in more danger of taking hits. So when your special dash stacking combo, actually, I do want to stop and just talk about this fight for a bit. So these are all these swordsmen. As I said, swordsmen are really, really tough. I think I play this super well. I sort of skirt the edges. Obviously, this is significantly easier to do with Merciful End, but even still, getting through all of those guys without taking any hits, and what I think is a reasonable amount of time as well, is pretty good. Is a nice display of some solid understanding of the fight. That's probably honest. That's honestly probably my favorite part of this run. Is getting through these swordsmen, and I don't know if I take any hits here, but I'm supposed to take hits here, and I don't think I do. Or if I do, it's like 1. Could have been a little bit faster. It's hard to say. But yeah, like right there where he like back off for half a second because he slashes. Like that's just a solid read all around. Good job, me. I think the second best part of this is honestly just the Hades fight. And yeah, I could have bought that Artemis for Deadly Reversal, but at this point, I'm strong. Deadly Reversal is a luxury, and I'm in no place to get those luxuries. So, and we're going to do the safe version of this fight as well. There's a dangerous version where you fight both, Theseus and Asterius at the same time, and you focus on Theseus. This is largely safer for the most part. There is still room for you to get accidentally hit by some stupid shit, like Theseus hitting you with his spear. But as long as you're behind one of these thick pillars, you should be fine. It's just a matter of avoiding really stupid hits. Also, since we have personal liability, which takes away the damage shield that you normally get when you get hit by something, you can get shotgunned really easily. Yeah, and I didn't have enough space to dodge that hit, I don't think. Or rather, I wanted to dodge off to the side, but there wasn't really enough space. So I was hoping I had enough. I don't know how much damage I'd take from fighting Theseus here either. Theseus can punish you really hard. Because the timings on his stuff is actually really particular. Taking an extra hit there. Oh. With Theseus, it's good to just, if you're hugging him, and since you're playing sword, you're kind of going to have to. It's the same principle as with Asterius. You want to look at the direction he's going and then dash in whatever the opposite of that direction is. Dashing off to the side like there is a little scary, and obviously dashing with him is even scarier because he will keep up with your dash. Nonetheless, we actually got out with a decent amount of HP. It's quite possible for me to just completely flub that fight. And here I am actually looking to pick up some health. I'm unsure if the bronze skin will save me more health than I recover here, but I feel like it does. And even if overall it doesn't, having the health now I think is very nice. So I'm quite willing to expend a 7% damage reduction for that. It's possible that was incorrect, but I think having a higher health total is just so valuable. And since you have lasting consequences fountains, which don't even heal you for very much, heal you for even less. And this is probably the best sticks I could possibly get. The large health is perfect. Snake stones are also really dangerous because we don't have because we have personal liability. So the damage shield that usually comes up just means that you can get lasered to death almost instantly. Oh yeah, the large health is super good, and Dionysus offers some nice defensive options. Well, there's only one defensive option, which is positive outlook. And here I'm actually playing this room pretty safely. I've had situations where this crisscross blade room just completely fucks me, and I just take buzzsaws for no good reason. And there really is no good reason to take buzzsaws in that room. So I'm just like, yeah, we'll let the traps kill the enemies. Because at this point, again, I'm not in like speedrun mode. I mean, I sort of am. I still want a good time, but I'm not racing against something. And actually, right there, I'm checking the shop to see if there's extra health there, and there actually is. I think I get enough money to pick up that health, which is also super big. It's bigger to get it earlier, because that increases the amount of health you get from fountains. But you take what you can get. It's a 25 heal, which is so valuable, and I do find enough money, which is so nice. And I think we're gonna pick up I think it's a rare positive outlook. I don't know how much it comes into play, and I know that I beat the Hades fight with enough health, such that I don't know if any of that damage reduction that I acquire or sold matters. And we're super happy to see this 2-sack. As I said, this is probably the best, the single best sticks you could possibly ask for. We are leaving with full health. That never happens. Leaving sticks with full health is the unicorn of first run. And here I'm actually pausing so I can turn off Cornberry's stream, and so that I can actually turn up the volume a little bit, because there are some sound cues that you do kind of listen for. Those aren't going to be playing for this, obviously, but and I actually forget to split here, which kind of sucks. I can actually manually input the splits later, so we'll do that. We'll fix our splits, and I think I actually split late because of this. So whatever shows up at the end in terms of time is probably a second or two faster. Not that it matters too much. I just want to say, at this fight, my heart is like, I'm already feeling nervous, and as the fight goes on, I sort of feel myself getting not more nervous, but more intense. If that makes any sense. Also, we're clearing these pillars on the ground, not just for fun, but we're actually clearing them so that we can move around better. Those pillars will actually block you if you walk into them. So, that was an early dash. Like that's such an avoidable spin. And we just took it. But taking only one hit with our health total for one phase, like I'll trade one hit for one phase pretty easy. And these spawns are actually kind of nice. They're not the best, but an armored bloodless and a bomber is just fine. I think I'm actually doing a really good job of keeping up with his moves. I'm dashing in and out. I'm not really stopping. And there I take a quick pause so I can dodge his skull. I mess up the spin again, which really sucks. There is no excuse for missing the spin, or for getting, for mistiming the spin, because it's telegraphed. Like, you should be able to. It's just, yeah. And as I said, as time is going on, I can hear my heart pounding in my ears. I don't want it to. I'm like, in fact, as I go in, I'm thinking, okay, this is just like a regular run. Just like keep it together. And not only is my heart pounding in my ears, my vision is actually kind of starting to blur. Not in like a I can't see sort of way, but just in a very hyper focused, everything else doesn't exist kind of blur. So that's fun. But we make it out of this phase with tons of health, like 200 health, even on hell mode at this level, I think is incredible. So I'm feeling good, but I also know I can easily fuck this up. And I'm so glad that he starts off with this. We actually get really lucky with his moves too. Because I think here he fires up his laser beams pretty soon, yeah. when you see him walking, I think that's him looking for a pot. Because he will try to run next to one of his green pots. And another bad spin dodge. That's really upsetting. Okay, he'll always try to stand next to the pot because obviously the game expects you to try to stand next to him. And this second pot summon is actually super big as well. We're going to see a really nice bit of maneuvering here. Yeah, nice. That was a slick move. I could have tried to get in on him, but there were a lot of pots lying around. I didn't want to take the risk. We do a really good job of standing next to him there. It's actually quite possible for him to bump you out of the way with his giant ass shoulders, but yeah, we do take a hit, but we're good. Oh god. And yeah, I split a little bit late. So actually it's a 28-32. This point I'm just mashing through the dialogue to get there. We'll see the victory screen. It's Pog. So yeah, that's the first run hell mode. We got really, really lucky. Yeah, we got really, really lucky. I think we played really well for the most part. We obviously had a lot of health to work with here. So some of my a lot of my mistakes, I think, were sort of smoothed over. Again, we took a little over 200 damage in that fight, which is a luxury, honestly, you're not going to get very often, if at all. But you know, we had the max health. We got really lucky in sticks. We got really lucky getting Merciful End in Tartarus, which again means that we can spend a lot of our money and opportunities to get more powerful on health. And for the most part, we didn't really waste any boons either. Like, we have Dire Misfortune, but we didn't really get any other extraneous boons. We were really, really efficient, which I think is just what these sorts of successful runs look like. I think Vareem's world record has like no wasted boons. Like, it's literally a perfect lineup of like epic attack and impending doom and special and so on and so forth. I don't think we'll need something like this to beat hell mode, but for me, it's good enough. I'm happy with it. Do I think that Vareem will beat this potentially even by the time this goes up? Maybe, since this is going up hopefully tonight. I don't know. But I will say I think that whatever resources I get, I think Vareem can probably beat the game either faster with the same or more reliably with less. So I don't want to understate the amount of luck that I got here, because we did get quite lucky. But that's okay. That's part of what speedrunning is sort of taking advantage of your luck. But yeah, that was the first run hell mode. Hope you enjoyed it. I know I didn't talk too much about the run itself, but I really can't do that without pausing the video, and fuck that. I'm not gonna do that in this sort of format. So like, subscribe, comment, lol. Peace out. And check my socials. Check the socials.